Truth and Tea with the Urban Evangelist. Welcome to Truth and Tea with the Urban Evangelist.
Hi there, I'm the Urban Evangelist and welcome to this week's episode of Truth and Tea podcast. Do you ever struggle to trust God's plan for you or to wait patiently on His timing? Chances are you do. In fact, we all do really. It happens to the best of us. That is true for so many of us that, ever since high school, we've always known that God has something big planned for us someday. But depending on where we are in life, we may still be waiting to find out what that thing is. And while we may have made peace with the fact that we're in a much needed time of preparation when God makes us wait, and perhaps we might even be content with that, there are definitely plenty of times when we grow weary of waiting around, and honestly, we are just ready for some action. There's some variations out there, when it comes to trusting God's plan and His timing. And we know that sometimes we want to help God along, especially when things don't seem to be going our way. But the Bible tells us very clearly in Isaiah 40 verse 21 that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall faint, or rather they shall walk and not faint. So here today to discuss this topic of the process of waiting, of becoming, is a person who is perhaps a bit more known for being, the one grilling his guests and asking all the hot questions. His name is Suwilanji Siame. He's a media personality. He's a podcaster. He's a PR expert. And so much more, which I know we'll find out as we go along. But Suwi, welcome to Truth and Tea.
Thank you very much. I'm actually very happy you invited me. So I look forward to having a very exciting conversation with you.
I'm honored that you
came. Now that the tables have turned. Exactly.
It's my turn to get even, really. And you heard the intro, right? I mean, talking about waiting and the process of becoming. You've got a dream. You feel like God has placed something upon your heart. You know where you want to go. But then you're not really prepared for everything that's in between point A and point B. So straight into it, so have you ever felt like you've arrived in life?
Have I ever felt like I've arrived?
Yes.
Maybe when I was younger, and I was in my early days at ZNBC. That thing where you feel like, okay, I've reached my dreaming limit. I think I need to dream new dreams.
Really, yeah?
So at that particular point, because dreams are in stages.
Yeah.
The kind of dream that an 8 to 10-year-old has, I don't think for most of them goes beyond age 25 and whatnot.
Exactly.
Some of them just have a PS5, that's a dream. Then, you have a PS5 and then, I have a new dream. So I felt like that, I think, when I was doing my television at ZNBC, because when I was very young, I really wanted to be on television. But when you are young, you know what you want, but it's that thing where you reach a point where you say, and then what? Okay? So yes, I had reached that, but I felt like there was more that I wanted. And also more for me came as a result of being exposed.
Okay.
Then you realize, so it doesn't end here. So you can become this and become that and become that. And so yeah, pretty much.
So what triggered that for you, like wanting to be on TV? Usually some people will watch somebody on TV and say, that looks pretty cool. What was the trigger for you? For me, really the trigger was when I was young, I was, I'm a big fan of the BBC. So when I was young, I think when I was in my secondary school, I could read the news on the ticker, and as a person who's reading, I would mute the TV, and then I'm reading those headlines and I'm down there like I'm there, wow. Yeah.
So I always do that. And then when I tune to our local channels,
How old were you then?
Grade 12. I was like, what? I don't know. I was not 20 years.
So this was 12th grade?
Maybe like grade 10, 11.
Okay.
10, 11, yeah, 10, 11, around that time. So when I do that, and then I tune to a local channels, I go like, but these guys don't have that level of energy, like they lack something. Because you got the BBC guys, the guys are excited, even the news is bad, but they give you their all. Yeah. And I feel like we need this, So for me, that really is what triggered my passion for media. Like I did say, big fan of the BBC. And if you notice, pay attention to this, when you go home, when the BBC news is starting, I think their actual news, maybe like their news, not their headlines, even the headlines, they do it. But when that countdown does 3, 2, 1, and then it goes in the studio, The newscaster, the anchor, is quiet. They don't say anything. They only start talking when that thing goes doom, doom, and then they start talking.
Oh.
Pay attention. So for me, just that sound, I'm telling you, just that.
But you see, this is like how we look at life through very different lenses. We're watching the same thing, but depending on what you're passionate about, you see two very different things.
Exactly. So maybe there are other things that I don't see that I'll learn about, but for me, that I saw, and just that gave me that I can do it feeling.
I'll tell you what I see when I watch the news, though, because my husband's a big fan of BBC and CNN, and I tell him, you see how natural she looks? You can't begin to imagine how much makeup is on that face, despite the natural appearance. So that's what I see as a woman.
Yeah, no, that's what you see. And then the other woman will go like, her makeup is not very good, her hair, the outfit, the colors don't match. I never even pay attention to colors. Yeah. In fact, there was a guy that was like protesting against this thing where he felt women are judged. So they did like a news program. He was him and the female anchor. And for one whole year, he was wearing the exact same suit.
Wow.
At the end of the year, he then told his viewers, do you know I've been wearing the same exact suit? But none of you said anything.
Nobody said anything.
If this woman was wearing the same outfit the whole year, exactly,
or even the same hairstyle,
exactly, just that, she would have been called out. Social media, what, BBC, whatever it is, you guys can't buy our clothes. But the guy, same suit, not even noticed.
Important point you bring out. So tell me, Sui, have you always known what you've wanted to do and how to position yourself for that thing in life?
No, always known would make it sound like I'm perfect. No, I've not always known. I had an idea, but I've not always known.
Well, you could be a visionary.
No, not that precise, to that level of detail, no.
Yeah.
I've always had an idea, what I would like to become and what I'd like to scale up to. Right now, and also, by the way, I'm not a media practitioner, and I always tell people this. I never went to school to do media, so I am actually not a journalist. Okay.
So what did you do in school?
Marketing. So I did a bit of accounting because when I was young, I had an uncle who said, there's money in accounting, there's jobs in accounting. Yeah. And then we did foundation, ACCA, and then I never went back.
So you dropped out of accounting?
Yeah, I dropped out.
I highlight that because it's important for someone out there to know.
Yeah, like a nurse, like, no, it's not for me. I did some courses and I was like, you know what, no.
Because sometimes we push through things that we don't even enjoy doing.
If it's not working, it's not working.
It's not working.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's me who was going to live through that. So I was like, no, this is not working. So then I went to the NBC, did the media thing. But even then, when I tried to go back to school, it wasn't media. Even though I was in a media environment, because most people, what you become is like dictated by the environment you're in. So because I'm in this media environment, I see this guy, I want to be like them, so let me go to school and become them. Yeah. It reached a point for me where I felt I had done everything in media. There's nothing I can go and do at school that they'll teach me about media.
Right.
Because I am living in a media environment.
Yeah.
I know everything. Yeah. Let me, because even for the general public, they know I can do it because they've seen me doing it. Yeah. I don't need a qualification to validate that I can do it. You've seen I can do it. Yeah. Let me go and get another qualification that will then complement my media. And that's why I went to do marketing. But in terms of positioning myself, really, I feel like the world began to align for me. When I joined ZNBC, I was doing a debate program. Debate. We did junior president, big programs. Later on, debate? So when I was at school, I debated in grade 12.
Okay.
So in grade 12, I did debate. 10, 11, no. I was just hearing the debates, watching. Yeah. But in grade 12, I did a number of debates. So I took that then to ZNBC, and we did a debate program, and then we did junior president. And then later on now, I started doing the business program. And for me, that positioned me because it became about building a network, okay? With debate and junior president, yes, the network was there, but it wasn't the network that speaks to my future. So I know kids, I know teachers. If you are the kid trying to go into a school, I can help you because I know a teacher there because of the debates. You get my point, right? But then what does that do for my future? Yeah.
I get you.
I then began to position myself for, okay, let me do something that when I do this, the networks I will build from there are then able to feed into my future. And that's where for me now it becomes about, okay, let me realign, let me recenter, let me refocus and go into this field. That's what I would call deliberate.
Honestly, at a young age, it's rare that you find that someone is already thinking that your network could then help your net worth.
Yes, because
that kind of sounds like the principle that was in operation behind what you did.
Because
right?
I'll tell
or
you something.
at least it informed a lot of your decisions.
Yeah, it did. You mentioned the process of becoming.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. I used to stay in Kabata with my parents, and I used to go and do a program at ZNBC. When I went to ZNBC, I was not employed by ZNBC. I would just show up and do a program, and then I go home. Whatever I do, that's up to me. There were days I would walk from Kabata to mass media. Okay, it didn't make sense to the people around me at the time. They're just using you. This won't take you anywhere. That kind of thing. But I knew where it was going. I was very clear where I wanted to go, and I knew that it would not bear results in the immediate, because ideally something told me it would pay to be known. Maybe not right now, but it will pay to be known. You know, and so. That endurance, that always showing up, because there's some times where you put effort into something. There's no guarantee whether it will pay off tomorrow. If it does pay off tomorrow, it's a bonus. Well, but even when you're putting in the effort, you're sure it will not pay off immediately. So for me, that was what the process was like, and that on a day, and now people get involved, it's no, this, it's not making sense and whatnot. And for others, they were so convinced I was employed. They were so sure I was employed, but I wasn't. And people said, no, they're using you. Even people in the organization come to you, no, they're using you. But I knew where I was going. And the rest is history. You know, that for me was the process. It was a necessary part of the process. I could have been frustrated and say, you know what, I've stopped. But then, even then, I didn't have anything to justify, because, like I said, I was straight from high school, started doing those debate programs. Even if I said, give me a job, I didn't have the qualification. I knew where I was standing. I didn't have the qualification. I was even lucky they put me on TV. Because I didn't have the qualification. I wasn't. ZNBC had kids programs. But I was never in one of those. And you're not doing a kids program. So it was easy for someone to just say, you know what, this, he's not even here. Drop him in case of the sue us that you are casualization. Just So I was actually, for me, it was like, I'm lucky that I'm still getting this.
So you've just put me in the shoes of little Sui, and I'm picturing you right now coming from Kawata area, walking to ZNBC, and I would imagine, you know, filled with a dream and the hope of what might be in the future. What kind of environment did you grow up in? Like, where did you get that sort of drive from?
I grew up in a very... I used to play a lot when I was young age. I can't count how many times I was beaten for coming back 18 hours. So I grew up in a very... Okay. I know most people say poor family, but no, we're not poor. You know what Kawata is? Nothing's changed. Kawata is like it's not very like the upper Mwambas, the affluent, or like the downtrodden, the poor. It's just like middle class. It's just there. My parents, I grew up in a witness home, the witness home. So like the spiritual aspect was like very strong, you know. And I feel like that sort of led the kind of life that I have now, because I don't drink, I don't party, I don't go to concerts. Ndani is performing.
Not any concert.
None.
Like,
no.
Doesn't matter whether it's like Christian.
No, it doesn't
Of course,
matter.
I mean, we're speaking in a spiritual context.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, that's very interesting.
I don't go. It's just one time I think that I, escorted my wife to one.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. But then for me, that was, that's a story for another day. But that's the kind of environment I grew up in.
Yeah.
The kind of programs we watched, violence, no. What? This sexual morality, no. So even, yes, as a kid you'd rebel, obviously, like, oh, you watch wrestling, but you know that you shouldn't, and it was frowned upon, and they told us why, and that kind of Christian upbringing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of environment I grew up in.
Yeah.
But when I decided to start chasing my ZNBC dream, it wasn't because, I sat down with my father and he told me, no. That was just my own thing. Even to them, they didn't see it. In the beginning, they didn't see it. But they did not block it, They didn't see it at the time, but I just believed in it myself. I feel like my motivation was not like parental motivation, like go and do this, go and do this. No, my parents would support, because there were times they'd show up for me. Oh, we're having like a final for the debates and whatnot. They show up, they'd come. They met. I think I met Chwamba Kanyama at the time when I was the Director General, and your son is so like that. Oh, cool. They would support. My mother would give me a suit, and they would support. I feel like it just delayed for them to catch on to what I was onto. Yeah, but that really was the kind of environment that I did grow up in. That sort of like was for me the foundation in terms of even the kind of things that I did. They really informed it.
I'm now still, trying to see through your lens, the trajectory that you're on. And you said something about how it pays, or at least you were of the view that it would pay to be known, one day it would pay off. And, I'm looking at the times that we're in now where like social media really is creating perhaps stars in their own right, who may not be too familiar with the process of grounding, a process of going through stuff. So do you ever, in light of what you went through and what your process has been like, ever feel self-made in your efforts?
No, self-made, no. There is a God behind. No, self-made, I don't believe in self-made.
Yeah.
No, because if it's self-made, there are other people who are more disciplined, who are more focused, who are sharper, who are smarter, who should be ahead of me, but they're not. For me, that's where the game-changing favor comes in. Favor has been a game changer. For me, I feel like God really has gone before me. There are opportunities I've gotten that I cannot believe I got them. Like I said, look at where I am. There are people with 10 times my following, okay? More, but look at what they've done with it. So for me, really, I feel like my process, I believe there is a God that was pushing the process. And he never forgot that, there's a Suwi that has to be pushed. Yes, there are other global problems that have to be dealt with, but let's give Suwi his fair share of the blessing. Right now, we have a lot of young people who are 100,000 followers overnight because you danced somewhere, and now it's like, boom, you've got these followers, and you've got no idea what to do with them because you never planned for these followers 6 months ago. You don't even think about them 2 days ago. But because something happened, Mainza was, and someone took a video, who's that person? Tomorrow, Mainza has a page.
Mainza's happening.
And people are following, and Mainza's happening, it's trending. I never trended. So for me, it was more of a deliberate process than anything else. But then also the thing I've come to learn is when something comes to you and you did not prepare for it, more often than not, it doesn't last. It doesn't last and it slips right through your hands because this is what I believe. There are things, Mainza, that are supposed to come to you. But you find that at the time, you're not ready to sustain them. Okay? So it will come to you. It will come to you. Yeah. Opportunities will come to all of us. But at the time it comes, you are not ready for it. And because you're not ready for it, it will pass you. As I said, no, because it came to him and he was not ready. One, it's also mental attitude. It's a discipline, it's a focus. The artists, I'll give you an example, for example, of the guys in music that happened 10 years ago. Okay? If you talk to them and tell you, no, look, I was young, I was very mature, I drank the money, and there are people who have had money pass through them. We see them, football stars. This guy was in the Premier League. Where is he now? Nothing to show. Why? Because that came to him at a time when he did not have the mental capacity or the preparedness to handle that. Others, even younger, it comes to them. But others, it takes a certain level of maturity, a certain level of grounding, and that's why the process is important. Because the process will teach you what you could not have known on your own. The process I went through, a thing where this cup, if I just give it to you, and if I made you work for it and buy it, you will value it more because you worked for it. Okay? The same thing, give to two people, even a book. I'll give you a book. The same book, he bought the book $750. He'll finish reading the book before you did. Because there's no effort, there's no sweat there. So for me, really, that's what the difference is. And that's why I don't believe in self-made, because the things I went through, I do not voluntarily say I want to start walking. I have an option to, there's a car, no. The process demands I should walk. No. I walked because at the time I had no choice. If I had money to jump on these ride-hailing services, I would have. But the process said, no, look, you have to go through this. And because of that, I did not go through that for nothing. You get the point, right? Because I don't think God is that harsh that he made me go through that and suffer for nothing. I was young. I am hungry. I am what? Like I told you, I wasn't getting paid. Okay? I wasn't even transport refund. No. So for me, that was, not that it was a punishment and I had to be rewarded. No. It's the process demands I go through this. But then also, I need a mental attitude strong enough to make me understand that this is relevant for the process. Otherwise, it's like, God, why am I suffering? I am getting what I want to be on television, But it's coming with this walking or this. Sometimes I go on a Sunday.
Yeah.
People at home with their families. Oh, where's your son? Oh, I'm the watch the program. Okay. So all of that for me was necessary, and that's what makes me who I am today. And in hindsight, when I look back, I feel it was necessary. But at the time, it felt like ish again. But then again, you get used at some point. You get used because you're a kid, you're excited. I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right now, at my age also, that process would be very frustrating. If it happened to me now, I'd be very frustrating.
Of course.
Because I've changed, I've got responsibilities, I've got what, I cannot walk, I cannot do something for free because look, I've got a wife and who need me. So there's something, the process had its time. Then I went through it, believing, but now I am going through a different process, which is relevant for this version of me.
Absolutely. I love what you've highlighted, that the process actually makes demands. And sometimes we treat it as though it's giving us options. And yet, there's really at some point no detours. The only way through it is to go through it. No roundabout way. And it reminds me of the time that I used to be on radio. And, I did the graveyard shift for years. I think all throughout campus when I was, I won't mention the radio station, but literally I would do 22 to 2, knock off at 2. There would be times where the car wouldn't start and I would sleep at the studio. It happened twice. And I look back at all of that and I don't take opportunities for granted because it's like you've said, how are you going to grab them? How are you going to seize them? But if we had not gone through some parts of the process, we wouldn't be able to grab some of the opportunities coming our way with both hands now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you also said something that's quite interesting, you said you could be frustrated, when some things are withheld from you at a certain stage in life. So have you ever felt like life has delayed handing you some of your goals? And how do you deal with that sort of frustration?
I think it's human nature to want it now. I think it's only human nature to want it now. The time I was at ZNBC, I volunteered for a very long time, and also I felt that there are people I knew who could have given me a better job. You get the point, right? Like there are a lot of people I know, like I know you are the decision maker. Like you can get me out of my, give me a better job or link me to someone or like I felt I should have had that at the time.
Destiny helpers.
Yes, like you should, yeah. But then also for me, I am one person who I've never asked for a job from anyone. Like I know people, CEOs and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm not one to go and say, no, I believe they should see it and say, okay, look, you're good enough, here's opportunity. But even through that, I believe in working for it. Because like I said, it's just given to you. I feel like if you work for it, you feel like you belong. So if I go through the process, I'm interviewed, I'm what, and I get there, I feel like I belong here. I'm not just like placed there. Yeah. So I felt like those guys should have gotten me out of that situation. People should have, helped me. I should have been employed as full-time as ZNBC sooner. So I felt like that. But then again, like I said, hindsight, the power of hindsight is, if it happened that way, would I be where I am today? Maybe it would have gone a whole different path. But then the funny thing with life is when you take a detour and you turn, you can't come back and say, okay, now where we ended there, now let me now make this decision. It's gone, it's too late. So I've had those situations before where I felt like this should not be happening like this. Yeah. According to my plan, it should be happening like this by this time. And to be honest, for the most part, my timelines have not worked out the way I thought they would. But then God, we have the gift of seeing, but our sight can't even take us beyond tomorrow. You get the point, right? Like, there's that thing they say, no matter how tall you are, you can't see tomorrow, But God sees everything, And so when I feel like this is the right way, he says, my son, no, it's not the right way. Yeah. The right way is this side. But then also I feel like it takes a certain level of spiritual dedication and commitment for you to actually say, God says, this is the way, and you blindly say, okay, I'll follow, without knowing where it will end up.
Exactly.
So sometimes people have been stubborn, others are stubborn, like, no, and you insist because you are seeing the immediate benefit. Like it's here, and God will say, okay, I gave you free will, and you go and find out for yourself. But like I said, once you turn, can't come back and say, oh God, let's continue where we ended the last time. No. So I've had those situations before, and the frustration is real.
So that part of the process where like you try and skip it in your own wisdom and in your own knowledge, have you had instances where God brings you right back because I can't remember which book it was I read where it said, if you skip A and B and go straight to C, God always has a way of bringing you back to what you skipped. So has the process in that sense been painful for you in that you perhaps skipped a few things and found yourself back at one?
I can't point at a time where I skipped it, eh? I skipped and said, no, I want to get ahead or cut corners and whatnot. Yeah. No,
It's always been a steady rise.
It's always been a steady rise, but not a. It's one of those. Okay, you know a thing where jump on the stairs. So maybe step 1, 2, 3. Okay, then like step 4 is not coming. I did everything I could. Step 4 is not coming.
Yeah,
it's not coming. But no, it comes. Oh, it comes like that.
So are we talking some period of stagnation?
Yeah, stagnation no, it's been there. It's
stagnant, like it's like nothing is moving.
Okay, look.
Or not quick enough.
No, like things move, but maybe you feel like it's not moving quick enough. So I'll give you an example. I'm in the media, right? Okay, I'm not in the media right now, but like media space. And for the longest part, there are some things that you see your colleagues get by virtue of the job that you have. So you and I will, for example, be at the same media organization. Yeah. And I find that, you get an opportunity, you get something, or they'll call you, come and host this event for us, or host that event for us. And you feel like, why aren't they calling me? We do it. In fact, I think I'm on TV more than you, but why are they not calling me? Yeah. But then again, I look at the person I'm trying to compare to and the number of years they've been in the media, and then you understand, okay, they went through a longer process and they've reached their point of reward where now the process is rewarding them. My journey is not even a quarter of what they've done. Maybe my time will come. Then one day someone says, there's an opportunity here. And then you begin to see. I learned something from someone else close in the past, they're late now. And they said, in life, age must separate you. There are people who I worked with who were older than me. Before I even went to high school, they were already in the media. It will lead to nothing but frustration. If I've been in the media barely 2 years and I want to get the same things they are getting. Yeah. I want to get the same benefit they are getting. And that is not just in the media, even in the workplace. Yeah. There are people who you walk into this bank, you are a new person, and you want to be at the same level as those guys who've been there toiling for 20 years. And that's why you find people who want to jump the process, you're frustrated. Yeah. Because you want benefit number 1, 2, 3 to come to you, but they're not coming to you because these things, it's like a game, eh? Level 1, you unlock. Level 2, you unlock. Even a kid's game, you can't jump from level 1 to level 5.
You can't.
No, you can't. You must play and get, because people play video games, get frustrated, try to beat this. Those days, I don't know about you, okay, maybe you cannot relate, but when we're playing games those days, there's just fight. You know, that you must fight, and you fight that person, then the level is unlocked. Yeah. You get the point, eh? Yeah. And you fight that, whatever it is, 5, 6 times, sometimes you even pack the game, start again tomorrow, and finally you unlock the level. Yeah. And sometimes you find that even in our real lives, you have to fight that thing. You fight today, you stop. Again tomorrow, you find other ways of dealing with it, you deal with it, and opportunities will open for you like that. So for me, really, it's learning the fact that most of these things take time, and the people who are benefiting from them or getting those opportunities is because they've been there for a very long time. And the people tell you, I joined in 2000. And sometimes, so at ZNBC, what used to happen is in most offices, they've got like pictures, like a picture board where they show different pictures. And you see this guy putting a lapel on President Chiluba in 1993. And he's been here that long. Wow. You get the point, right? Yeah. And you've just been there 3-4 years. Yeah. And then you begin to understand, okay, he's gone through it. Yeah. Let that come to him. I also will get what's coming to me based on the process I've gone through. Yeah. It's like they say, and this is what I believe, Nainza, the taller the building, the deeper the foundation.
Exactly.
If I'm going to build a building that is going to be 100 stories, and you're building a house, okay, your plan is to build a house. My plan is, okay, let me not even use stories. Let me use examples Zambians can relate to. You want to build Findeko house. I want to build my home, okay? Now, you have to dig deeper for that Findeko building to stand.
To go higher.
For me, box foundation. I'm putting a roof, right?
Yeah.
You who wants to build Findeko house, you're getting frustrated because Sue is at roof level.
Exactly.
Of a house.
Yeah.
You're building Findeko house. And you're comparing yourself to a guy who's building a normal house. And then you become frustrated. It doesn't work like that.
Nah.
You know? So also I'm saying, for me, also it's about where are you going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So if you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, you'll not get frustrated by what other people are doing, because it's different plans, different end results, different destinations. So you're trying to overtake someone on Kafio Road and you're, and you get frustrated, this guy is moving too fast. No, he's going to Livingston, you're going to Kafio.
Yeah.
So it's different destinations.
Like that. I like that a lot. You talked about how, you've built networks, right? Or at least it's something that, even earlier on in your career, you were mindful of. One thing that I see a lot nowadays when it comes to the process is there's also a lot of entitlement. Perhaps with people that feel you need to hook them up to some of the opportunities that you've come across yourself. I did hear you say, though, that you also were mindful to not ask anyone for anything. How have you been able to hold back? Because, we see you, we see your podcast, we see some of the guests that you invite onto your show, the people that you rub shoulders with. Anyone who's, opportunistic in nature would feel like, okay, this is an opportunity to show myself, to ask for something or position myself. How have you reframed from that entitlement syndrome?
First of all, no one likes an entitled person. No one likes an entitled person. The network is there for a reason. It's important to leverage that network, but leverage it in such a way that people don't feel like you're just there to feed off of them. People come in your life for a reason, and they come in your life for a season. The people I know now, CEOs and whatnot, they'll not always be CEO. Tomorrow someone else will come and hold that position. But it's not me to say, no, tomorrow let me go to him now. No. Like I said, also put yourself in their shoes. And that's what I do. How many people on average are trying to get something from them, want something from them, want them to do something? How many people want a favor? Okay? I don't want to come and be that person that wants a favor. Because when you become known as every time Mainza calls, every time Sui calls, he wants something. Okay? I'll give you an example. There are people I know, like bank CEOs, I have their numbers. I've only called them once. Code once. The rest of the times, it's on WhatsApp. Maybe, I saw this is doing good, or come to a podcast, or like that. But I never just, hi, how are you? Or just, maybe it's once in a long time, I'm just checking up on you. How are you doing? Oh, it's fine. Next time, it's about, I can do this for you. I am creating value for me, so they see me as valuable in their lives. If I create a habit of, tomorrow, Mainza, I want this, I want that. The next time you see on the phone, not again. I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, what now?
Yeah.
You get the point?
Yeah.
The way I've positioned myself with these people is, if I code today, it must be very important. And they'll pick up. Because I have not created a brand of, I want something, or there's this guy, or this, no. And even for me, yes, I believe in borrowed credibility. Okay? There are some people I know that, this person is, if I go and say, that guy, I want you to find something for him, or I want you to help him. I am absolutely sure that boy will deliver.
Yeah.
I've never done that before, where I said, no, there's someone I want you to help him, or a job, whatever. No, never. But if I'm going to do that, I must be absolutely sure that person
can deliver. And
they'll come to me and say, thank you so much. That person solved our problem. That's what I want. And that's why I'm very careful not to do that. Because the moment I lend my credibility to someone else and they go there and they just mess up, every other person in the future that is referred to by Sui is useless.
Yeah.
But the next time they say, I'm looking for someone, Sui, can you recommend someone? Because I have built a brand of, I refer quality people. So for me, really, the relationship's about, I don't know what tomorrow brings. It's like I'm holding a card. Like, one day I'll use this card. Am I going to risk it all for this? Is this worth risking it for, to ask for a favor for this? If the answer is no, I'll just no, it's okay. Maybe sometimes, they post a WhatsApp status, I respond, but I can't respond to every WhatsApp status. For me, no. Really. I understand the human beings, because even I have a whole swarm of bees in my inbox.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those in their inbox. You get the point, right? I don't want to be one of those in their inbox. No.
Yeah. And I always, I know I'd thrown the term loosely in the conversation, this thing of destiny helpers. I think sometimes also we put too much expectations on people helping us and opening doors for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you forget, like you said earlier on, that, listen, I'm not self-made. There's been God propelling my career, my progression. So much so that sometimes people walk away very offended because this person didn't create this opportunity for me or open that door for me. I think it's just important to remember that create value for yourself, like you've said. And if God wants you to be remembered or talked about in certain rooms, then there's people like Suwi that will make that high recommendation. Oh, I know a guy. Oh, I know a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
so that comes because the person has created value for themselves, and my relationship with them is based on, for me, I have seen the value, and I feel like it's valuable enough for me to communicate to the next person. Destiny helpers are there, and for me also, I believe that's what I want to be for a lot of other people. I cannot be there physically, but I'll give you an example. If you check my social media, you never see, you will, but it's rare you see a picture of myself. Like I post a picture, I was this side, I met Ndani, no. Most of my posts are about, when I post this, what does it do for the next person? What is someone going to learn from this? If I post something, and sometimes the things I post are not things I am going through. Or sometimes it may be something I am going through, but I know a lot of others are going through this. So for example, right now, the last post I made was about someone who just shared with me and said, Suwi, when I attend a job interview, how do I know that I failed? I should not even expect a callback. And I posted there, and people who are now experienced, I saw Eve, an HR person from SA, and they comment and they give guidance. It is my platform that is reaching out to others as well. So that's what really it's been about for me. It's about, God has been kind enough for me to know these people. How can I use what he has done for me to then connect my inza to this person that needs help? For me, that's what I do. And most of the people that I help, I don't know them. I don't know them. It's just, their story moved me, and I feel like, let me expose their story to my audience, and someone will show up for them. I may not like myself take their problem away, but I know that those over 300,000 people that I have on Facebook, one of them will show up for them.
Job interviews, like you said, you posted about that recently. So we saw that you moved from ZNBC to one of the telecoms. Did that scare you in any way, that move?
So for me, the move was not like, I'm going there. For me, the move was, what do I have to lose? I saw the ad online, and I was like, what do I have to lose? The worst case scenario is I stay where I am.
Exactly.
You get the point, right? Worst case, and and in all honesty, that is the worst case scenario. Nothing changes. If they get me, they don't get me, obviously sometimes it affects you. You go like, I'm not good enough, I'm not what. But we'll deal with that. But then also for me, it's an issue of, if I don't get this job, I am getting prepared for the job that's meant for me. And I always tell people, if you're looking to switch jobs, attend as many job interviews as possible. There are some jobs there where it's not the job you want, but it will give you the experience with job interviews for the job you want. Because what happens is this, you work, right? Imagine 5 years pass, you never attended a job interview. And then one day you see this job that you want, like, wow, this is the job I've been looking for. And you go and make rookie mistakes in that job that you should have made at that job you never really valued. So go to those job interviews, make those mistakes. Yes, the worst case scenario is if you don't want the job, they'll call you. But then also what that teaches you is how do you respectfully decline. So even that is experience.
Right.
But the job you actually want will come, and you have no idea how to negotiate, how to answer, tell us about yourself, because you can't remember the last time someone asked you to tell us about yourself.
True.
So you cram, you study for this job interview, but the truth is, these smaller jobs that you don't really value are the ones that build experience, so that by the time the job that you want comes, you apply for it, and you now start looking back and say, no, look, when I applied to that company, they told me to work on this, work on that, work on that. I am working on all these small faults, small minor mistakes, these misdemeanors, and I am bringing a perfect version of me to this job interview based on these that I never got. But if I'm too proud to even apply, like, no, it's embarrassing, they'll see me. And some people are like that. Yeah. They feel like, no, if I apply, they think I'm not happy, I'm not what? No. I'm applying for my future, exactly. Not for what others feel. So for me, really, it was like, let's see where it goes. And I applied and told me, oh, okay. And someone called me one time for the job interview. And when they called me, I had just sent an email to someone who wanted something. And we had been corresponding via mail.
Right.
And so they told me, we've been doing mail a lot. Send us your number so that tomorrow as we meet, we can call you. Oh, okay, cool. And I sent them the number. After 5 minutes, my phone rang. And someone called me and said, hi, it's Suwi. Like, yes, oh, I'm calling from Zamtel. I was like, Zamtel? They're like, yes, you applied for a job. I was like, oh, okay. So I was expecting the one I was talking to an email to call me. So yeah. And then that's how it happened. He told me, no, this job interview is online. Yeah. I was like, but COVID is over. No, it's online, it's online. That's
well, COVID showed us that there's a smarter way to work.
Yeah, and then that's how that happened.
And the rest is history, as they say.
And the rest is history, yeah.
So before I let you go, there's someone out there who's probably thinking, I don't come from privilege, I don't have opportunities, I don't have a good network, but I want to get ahead in life. What can I do to get ahead? What can I do to better myself? What would you say to such a one? And I'd like you to look straight into your camera.
This one.
Yes, and just share some of your life's most practical lessons on standing out and just going after what you know life is not going to hand to you. Okay.
First of all, I feel like it's... I look at the camera a lot, but like now... Look, for me, really, no one is born with connections. No one is given connections. No one is given a network. Everything that we have, I think for the most of us, is something that you deliberately tell yourself, I have to go and get it. We all know that where we are is not where we'll be in the next 5, 10 years. But decisions we make today are what guide what you're going to be in the next 5, 10 years. Networking starts with just primary school. Who are your friends? Who are you associating with? Who do you spend the most of your time with? Be very deliberate. If you are able to, at a very young age, be very deliberate who you give your time to. Because time is one thing that once it's out, it's completely out. Right now, to be honest, with the level of knowledge and wisdom I have now, if I could go back, this same version of me, this Suwi of today, went back to grade 12, there's no telling what I could have become. But I know now, and the truth is you have the privilege, especially if you're younger, you have the privilege to be fed this information. Be very deliberate, even just who you follow on social media. The world is at your palm. It's right there. YouTube will teach you anything. Anything. Networking, what? It will teach you anything. Ask yourself, when you get your tablet or when you get your phone and you look back at your browser history, what does that say about the kind of future you want to build for yourself? When things happen to you, are you going to be surprised they're happening the way they're happening? Because most likely they're happening based on the effort. What you enter in Google and you search, the result is going to... There's no way I can Google people dancing and it comes out and says, no, networking, building a network. How do you build a business? No. How do you build a business will come on your page because you searched how do you build a business. You searched how do you create a network. What are you searching for? That's very important. Also, people who are in church communities, there are very influential people in these churches. But for many young people, it's a struggle to just stand up and say, hi, my name is John. I have this skill. I would like to offer it to you. Are you able to do that? And tell them, look, I want to do that for you for free. Don't pay me. Because there's something I learned last week, that they don't pay you for the value you say you can create for them. They pay you for the value you have at the moment. So it's about, okay, can I demonstrate that I can do this for you? Can I demonstrate that I can be able to show up for you in this way? When you do something for free and I see it, I am most likely going to get you on. And that's why I always tell young people, volunteer, show up for free. You can have a master's degree and you tell yourself, I can't work for free because I have a master's. I won't lie to you, there are thousands out there with masters and they've got no job. You sitting at home is you wasting away. Someone who has a master's is working for free somewhere else, but they are working in an organizational setting and people are seeing what they can do. The day that person says, oh, I was doing internship for 3 months, 6 months, it's now over, I'm leaving. Someone will say, no, you can't just leave. We may not have an opening for you right now, but would you mind working in that department? Those guys have an opening, go there. They'll say that to that person who may not be as good as the one who's at home but doing nothing and no one is seeing what they're doing. All that comes out because I am deliberate, I know where I'm going. Being deliberate really is, for me, the game changer. Because if you know where you're going, you know what route to take. Guys, if I'm going to go to Livingstone, I know what bus I'm going to jump on. I know the right stop. When the bus stops at Kabwe, I won't get off. Because I know my destination is not Kabwe. Not Kabwe, sorry. When I went to Livingstone, if it stops at Kafue, I won't jump off because everyone else is jumping off at Kafue. No, I'm not led by the crowd. I know my destination is Livingstone. The bus will stop at Monze. I have to get off. The bus will break down at Choma. I know it's not my destination. But if you don't know where you're going, the first stop you'll get off. The bus breaks down, you want to get off because, oh, it looks like... No, you must know exactly where you're going. If you're not sure, ask a friend. But like I said, remember, it matters who your friend is. I used to have a friend who would tell me, all the time, what do you want to be in 5 years? You know that, okay, this person is not the right fit for you. So there's a lot really I can say, because like I talk to camera, so if you put a camera in front of me, I won't stop. But for me, really, I'm a big fan of just being deliberate.
Yeah.
The fact that someone is subscribed to this podcast and they're watching this, for me, shows intention. Mm-hmm. It shows I know where I want to go.
Correct.
And people who come to you and subscribe to you, they're saying, Mainza, I know where I want to go, and Mainza, I want you to drive me there, or help me, guide me there, to be honest. And for me, that's the first step. If I have to push you to watch the podcast to the end, then you haven't really figured out exactly where you want to go.
So true. Couldn't agree more. And I'm just short of saying Sui for president, because, do you have presidential aspirations, by the way? I find that very hard to believe.
No,
I bet you've already got a 5-year plan for the country.
No, like politics for me, no, not really. I want to be used as a tool to help others, and I feel that it's not just politics that can, help you with that. Not all of us have to be president for us to make a difference. Yeah. Even where you are, this arrangement that you're putting in is enough for you to impact lives that a politician may never get to, So, but then again, I would serve, but not at president level. Like public service, I'm in a public organization. Yeah. So for me, that is where I am. How can I make a difference? I feel like that's how it. There are some people who say I cannot give unless I'm giving for political. I cannot do unless it's for there's an audience. Then your heart is in the wrong place.
Very well said. And with that, I just want to thank you for coming through. It's been lovely. It's been enlightening, and I've picked up so much.
Yeah, no, I have picked up.
Top of the list is a lot of intentionality with.
For me, I know everything. I mean, look at your podcast, for example. It's every week. It's deliberate. Yeah. I think it just doesn't fall like, oh, let's do a podcast. Yeah. No, there was pray about it, think about it. What's the angle of the podcast? Yeah. Who's our target? Who's our what? That is the podcast being deliberate. And it's speaking to the actual audience it should be speaking to. I have a podcast as well. I don't just bring on anyone on the podcast. The people who call me, I don't come on the podcast. Yeah. I respectfully decline because they don't fit into what the podcast believes in. Yeah. That's being intentional about where the podcast is going. We don't do a podcast for we're doing for the views. Trust me, if my podcast was about views, a lot of people would have dropped off because I feel like it's not what I subscribed to. Exactly. I would rather have 100 views to the right audience than 300,000 views to those that just came for clout. Yeah. All right. So all the best with everything that you do. Keep up all the amazing work, and we are watching. No, thank you so much for your support, and thank you very much for having me here. I don't take it for granted because, like I said, there are a whole lot of other people could have had on the podcast, but you chose me, and I don't take it for granted. And that is why I said, let me give my the attention.
Yeah.
Let me give her the time.
No, we are most grateful. So it has been Truth and Tea with Sui. We're talking about the process, and if it's something that we can walk away with, is that behind every promise, a promise of God, a promise that you're working towards, a promise that someone made, for it to be of any value, there's always a process behind it, and it's the process that grounds you, that develops your character, because there's places that talent can't even take you without character, and character is formed by the process that God allows us to go through. And so don't forget that there's always more where this comes from. Please do catch it on Radio Christian Voice. So right after this, subscribe. Radio Christian Voice, the Urban Evangelist on YouTube. And that, folks, is Truth and Tea.